Hi everyone, how are you? This is going to be a great video because I'm going to answer all you need about how to sell a product. And I get this question on my apps almost all the time. Almost every day there's someone, how do I sell this product? I'm making something, like I'm making a lotion, I'm making a widget, I'm making a thing. Like, how do I sell it? Or even if you're not making it, how do I sell it? You got products, t-shirts, whatever. You got products, you want to sell it. I'm going to explain exactly everything you need to know. By the end of this video, you guys are going to be like sales ninjas. I mean, really, you're going to be overwhelmed with information, but you will be amazing at selling your product, and I'm going to want to hear some results. So come back to this video and comment when you are selling. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is break it down to, there's kind of two buckets, I guess you want to call them. There's like, you're selling offline and you're selling online. Offline is very easy to discuss, so I'll discuss that first. So offline sales, basically, you know, the options are sort of limited. Whatever your thing is, you know, you may have a food product, you might have a piece of jewelry, whatever, you know, I don't know, but it's a product and you want to place it inside local stores. You can also sell it from carts, you know, depending on the product. From carts, in flea markets, on on the street, you know, that's possible. That's the best, actually, because when you sell it on your own, like in a flea market, when you're actually the salesperson, you can see the reaction of people, and then, you know, they can tell you why they like it, they can tell you why they don't like it. And it's one of the best ways to improve your product. You will hear what these guys have to tell you, process the feedback. You know, you don't have to take all their suggestions and advice, but you know, you can definitely absorb the feedback, and then over time it will help you improve your product. And if you're selling online, you don't necessarily get that kind of a deep feedback where you're actually talking to the person face to face, and that will come from your customers, and that will come from the store owners, right? If you are approaching stores and trying to get them to sell your product, then they will tell you why they like it or why they don't like it. So that's what you want to do, is kind of like approach stores that might resell your product and sell it yourself. It's very important to sell it yourself. Don't be shy. Don't think you're above it. You're going to get the most benefit out of that feedback that you get. And people aren't even going to give you feedback, but you'll just see it in their faces. And that's why it's so important to just sell. You know, you gotta, at least in the beginning, you gotta know how your product sells. It's really going to be important. But those are really the options, right? Stores, you know, flea markets, on the street. So those are kind of three options. I'm trying to think if I forgot an option, but those are sort of it. Be careful when you are placing things in stores. Don't be too eager, because some stores have steep requirements, especially if you have a food product and you're selling into you're trying to place them into large supermarkets. Those supermarkets will give you really bad terms usually if you're an unknown, and you got to be a little careful because you actually might end up losing money. But that's kind of like maybe a topic for another video, because it gets deep into not sales, right? So to sell, you got it. Okay, now let's go online. Online, it's really complicated. I mean, it's not complicated, but like, I'm going to give you a ton of information right now. So the number one thing you want to understand is that you're not, well, back up. The number one mistake people make, or not even mistake, so the number one thing people think of when they are thinking about selling their product is they're thinking of having a website and selling their product from this website. And that's great. You will need to have a website and sell your product from there, because that way you don't need to pay commission to any resellers. And why not have that extra channel? You want to establish that. But to get the shoppers into your site isn't easy. It's going to take time. You know, you're going to have competitors, blah, blah, blah. I'll explain how to get them. But what I want you to focus on is there are already many thousands, maybe millions of shoppers on Amazon.com, Shopping.com, eBay.com, Etsy.com, Fab.com, right? And I'll have all these links to these sites in the description of the video, so you can just, you know, check the description. I'll have links to all this stuff. But you know, try selling your products there. And if it sells on those big e-commerce platforms, you know, you can make a lot of money because the volume of shoppers is unreal. It's huge. So you want to try there first. And if it works, if this kind of a thing works out, then what's going to happen is there are so many e-commerce sites. Just sell them on all of them. I mean, I listed 5 of like big ones, but there are like, yeah, I don't want to say hundreds, because if you get to the hundreds of sites, like there's not that many really large ones, but you just keep putting your product into those sites because they're gigantic stores where people are shopping. And so that's what you want to do. Okay, now once you've done that, right, then it's probably in order of progression, then it sort of makes sense to have your own website. Because think about it, when you are posting your product on every one of these websites, what happens is they all give you a chance to link to your site, to your own website, and that actually builds up your SEO quite reasonably. It's not gonna, like, you know, I don't know that those links are so powerful because there might be like no follow, whatever. It's an SEO issue, but an SEO, for those who are not sure, it's search engine optimization. It's how you get Google traffic. It's how you get to rank in Google. And I'll cover that in a few minutes in this video also because it's relevant for this conversation. But the idea is that from all those e-commerce sites where you post your product, you can link back to your site. So you should have a site. A site is, many people get stumped by having a site, but it's incredibly easy to set up. You just need like WordPress theme, host it on WordPress, and then make it like have like a, you know, maybe a shopping cart or whatever solution. But they're very commoditized solutions, and you can actually put up your site in like a day. And I have a tutorial for this. I'll actually have the link to the tutorial, like really step by step, you can't go wrong, in the show notes again. So check the description of the video, and there's links to the e-commerce site, and then there's going to be a link to the tutorial for setting up your website. And you can set up your website in like a day or 2. I mean, if you're good, you can set it up in a couple hours, but like really, if you're new, you know, you might take a couple of days, but not easy, not difficult. It used to be difficult before, now, and it's going to be cheap too. So forget that. So you got the website. You can put up your own website. You don't need to hire anyone. You can do it on your own. And then, okay, now this website, the goal of this website is, well, you know, if you're selling on those commerce platforms, you kind of want to keep the people there generally on those commerce platforms and just buy. But you also want your website to rank in Google. And let's say that you're selling shoes. For some reason, I always give examples of selling shoes. I don't know. Okay, you're selling shoes. Now it's going to be it's going to be impossible to rank in Google for the term shoes, because the #1 site is like Amazon, the #2 site is Zappos.com, then there's like Wikipedia. Basically, you will never, right? I mean, too difficult, too competitive. It's one of the most competitive. I think it's actually one of the most competitive searches online because there's so much money to be made there, and people have been figuring out how to put themselves into the top 10 of Google for the last like 20 years of the web, right? So impossible. But what you can do is have many pages targeting long tail keywords, and I guess, should I explain what's a long tail keyword? It's basically like instead of shoes, which is a short tail, there's no tail, it's just shoes. The long tail would be green shoes with stripes, green shoes with cotton on top, right? Green shoes with unique soles. Okay, whatever, you get it, right? Like longer things. But when people, and those are still difficult to rank for just because the shoe space is so complicated, so it's so crowded. But if you have a less competitive product, you actually, that will be your strategy. You make a number of pages, and each page will target a certain long tail term. And the beauty of that will be that the people who actually search for long tail, if a person's searching like green shoes with a stripe, blah blah blah, you know what, if they actually find that on your site, they'll be much more likely to buy, because that's actually exactly what they were looking for. So that's kind of search. Okay, but I want to really get deep into search, because we're gonna talk about some tricks now. Nothing bad, actually good stuff. Like not like bad SEO tricks. Forget that. But really, actually insightful stuff. So think about it. There are 10 spots on Google. Okay. Okay, so one of them might be your website. But if you think about it, you can put video. Sometimes Google puts video results on Google on the first 10, right? Sometimes they post local services, like local stores, like if you know those little maps that show up in Google. You know, and if you kind of sort of give your address to Google, they'll actually might place you on the maps, and that's called something Google Places or Google Local. And if you sign up there, Google actually might put your listing on the map. And the great thing about the map, it's usually, if you notice, it's one of the first things that comes up. It's like above the fold. So it's a really great spot to be, because it's on top of the page. It's like the top 3 listings. It's not even top 10, it's like top 3. So you want to be on that map. Then you want to make some videos, because one of your videos might show up in the Google search results, inside actual Google, not in YouTube. But if people discover it on YouTube, all the better. So that's, now you can have 3 spots in your in the top 10, and it doesn't have to end there, right? You can make a Yelp listing for your business, and sometimes Yelp listings show up in search results, and that might be yours. So you might have like 4 spots inside that search results out of 10, right? Did you guys get it? If it's confusing, comment in the video, and I see the comments and I'll explain. But so what I'm kind of explaining is that you don't have to settle for, you know, one Google search result. You can dominate it. You can be all over the place. I mean, like, and even the other results, you might get them to somehow link to you or whatever. So, but you want to, you know, take up the real estate on that page, because the more space you take, the more sales you will make. Then because there's more chances people will click on your stuff. Okay, what's next? So you're selling on your website, you're selling on the e-commerce sites. I'm talking so fast, I'm like trying to catch up with myself. I think, you know, I'm worried I'm gonna forget something. But I think I'll leave it here, because if you do this, and you're on Google, and you're on those e-commerce platforms, and there's many e-commerce platforms, it's gotta work. The trick, see, I don't want to go into more options, because there are like probably more options, but I want to actually, let's talk methodology. You don't want to spread yourself super thin, because if you are in like 20 different e-commerce sites, and then you have a bunch of like different long tail pages you made on your site, what is the quality of those listings? Do you think the quality of those listings will be good? I mean, you're spreading yourself a little thin, right? You only have attention, you know, each one takes a while to refine. And by the way, when you make a listing on your site, on Amazon, whatever, quality is so important. Because people have nothing to go by. They have a, you know, just picture. They see the picture of the product, so you can put multiple beautiful pictures. Then people see like description, title, and that's it. You know, maybe some reviews, but they have nothing to go on. So those things, pictures, descriptions, titles, reviews, they must be as impeccable as possible. Because that's going to convert higher. Every little difference, like, will make a difference. Every little thing. I'll give you an example. In my mobile apps, I mean, it's not selling a product, but it's like I'm trying to get people to download apps. It's a little bit of a similar thing, because people come to this landing page and they decide whether they want to get this app or not. In your case, it would be the product, or getting the product or not. And I had a kind of a very crappy logo. Like, it wasn't great. Like, it was just basic. And I had it for a while, and it was okay. I didn't know. I mean, I had no idea whether it was making a difference. And then I had a professional designer make me like a nice logo. And guess what? Like overnight, I got 15% increase in downloads. Just because people were like, oh, you know, it's visual. And amazing, I never thought that would cause a 15% difference. And to actually explain more, that 15% difference gave me a boost over the other apps, and I was able to jump over a lot of apps. So eventually, it actually led to like over 100% increase actually. Because of that 15% boost gave me extra strength over the other apps. I mean, I won't get into it, but you see, the power of design and power of like this visual representation is very important, especially online, because the shoppers don't have a lot to go on. So make sure that your store listing on your site, on Amazon, is impeccable, as best as it could be. So don't spread yourself too thin. I know I gave you a ton of options, but also quality. Quality is important because it will make a difference. And there's another thing. If you just post your stuff on Amazon, that is not enough. What you need to do is to make sure that your product ranks, like let's say you're selling shoes inside Amazon, you need to make sure that your product comes up on the first page of Amazon for that product, for that search, right? So shoes, or if you're selling like, I don't know, chairs or something, or lamps, I don't know, that your lamps have to come up for the search lamp. And if it doesn't, you're not going to sell anything because nobody will find it, right? So your job is high quality listings, and make sure you figure out how to show up in the search of that platform. That is key, and many people miss that spot. Many people miss that. And you can do your keyword research. I have a whole video on keyword research because the keywords is what people use to search. So maybe I'll have a link to the keyword research video so you get a sense of how to go about doing that. But I do want to emphasize that if you do not rank in Google, inside Amazon, inside any of the commerce platforms, you will not sell. You gotta figure out how to rank. There are ways to get to rank. You can Google how to rank your product in Amazon. Maybe I'll have a video about that at some point. But I'm sure there's already people who have done that. So I'm not sure that's necessary. If you try it and you have sort of mediocre results, try to comment in this video and maybe I'll try to take a look at your product. I'd be curious. So that's it. Focus on quality and make sure you're able to be discovered for relevant search terms in the platforms where you post your product. And that's it. That's how you sell offline, online, on your site, in commerce sites. If you do this well, if you do all this well, you should have a lot of sales. Usually the way it works out is not every one of these options will be a good revenue stream, but some should. And it's your job to try all of them until you see what sticks. And once you figure out what sticks, what works, you press the gas on that. You just go full throttle on that because that's going to be your winning revenue stream, and that's going to make your business into a business. All right, that's it. If you like this, and I think you should because I gave a lot of good stuff, please subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate it. And I'd appreciate it if you checked out my mobile apps that I work so hard on. And the mobile apps actually will help you also with your business because they cover business ideas, business planning, marketing, and fundraising, which is essentially what entrepreneurs struggle with the most. And you probably are facing some difficulties in one of those areas. I know because there's hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs on these apps, and that's the issues they deal with the most. So I know really what entrepreneurs go through, and I know that these apps are very helpful. So check them out, problemio.com, or search for Problemio in any of the app stores, or again, it's going to be in the show notes, all the links to the apps. Thank you for watching. I hope you make good sales, and comment, and actually come back and comment and tell me if it's working for you. I really wish that it will. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.